We chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Hopefully get your day started off on the right note. Let me tell you something. It's chilly outside, but at least it's beautiful. Live look outside from our Tower Cam network in downtown Orlando, showing that clear sky overhead. A few high, thin cirrus clouds. You know it's cold upstairs when you get that. It's beautiful, though. And as a matter of fact, all of our tower cams across Central Florida are looking good. Top two things we are monitoring this morning. First off, doesn't take a meteorologist to tell you it is a cold morning. We'll be discussing those temperatures neighborhood by neighborhood. Plus, changes for the weekend. I was trying to figure out what picture to put, and I'm like, oh yeah, a guy going fishing. That sounds about right. That's a preview of coming attractions, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe. All right, let's start off and take a look at those live temperatures. We're scrolling the temperatures, the hourly observations on the bottom of your screen. But let's go live, baby. Here's a look. 36 right now in Ocala. It is 46 in Orlando, 46 in Sanford, 41 degrees in Palm Coast, 47 in Titusville, and it is 50 degrees for us in Melbourne. So it's a nice chilly start. Our first warning, live Doppler radar. Scanning. Not finding anything. Works for me. All right, so where do we go from here? Okay, looks great. We're headed to 57 degrees by 11 o'clock, 63 by 1 p.m., and about 66 for our high temperature today. So as we sip our coffee, know that it's going to be a chilly day today. Below average temperatures, a whole lot of sunshine. Absolutely wonderful weather across Central Florida. Gotta love this kind of a forecast. So what does it look like around Central Florida, right? Here we go. Today, 66 in Orlando. Average high is 72. You see it on the top of the screen there. About 62 in the Villages, 62 in Ocala, 60 degrees Daytona Beach, and into the mid-60s for Melbourne and Palm Bay. So it looks great. It feels great. It's going to be great. How are you today? Kurt, good morning to you. Janice, good morning, good morning. Carla, Casey, good morning. Jamie over on YouTube. Patrick over on YouTube. Good morning. Good morning. Beth over on YouTube. Good morning. Beth says it's my son's 10th birthday today. His name is Jacob. Jacob, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Gosh, 10. What is it like to have so much of your life ahead of you and yet still think you know everything? No, you're not quite to the teenage years yet. Yeah, you're 10. You're good. You're good. When we talk at 13, you're going to be like, I know everything. I don't need anything. Yeah, I'm good. Good morning to you, Chris. Arnett, biking in the afternoon rather than this morning in DeLand. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. At least the temperatures do rebound a little bit. If you're stepping out the door this morning, winter clothes, right? I even saw a little bit of frost on my drive-in to take the kids to school today. But, you know, relatively speaking, it's chilly. We know this to be the case. So winter clothes, not a bad idea. 46 or so. Through the day, though, today, I've got them pulled up because we're talking, but, like, these sleeves are going to be down today. I can tell you that much. It's going to be a cool day. 66 degrees, our high temperature on the day. But listen, if you're heading out to the theme parks, for example, looks like it's going to be a great day, right? Just a lot of sunshine. If you're heading out to Zora, this is always a fun event. If you're heading out to Zora in Eatonville, it looks like it's going to be a fantastic day. Temperatures into the lower range of the 70s tomorrow, 80s. Looking ahead to Sunday. What in the devil is going on? What? Yeah, let's talk about it. So here we are, chilly today. Looking to tomorrow, the winds are going to shift around just enough that we're going to start to warm things up a little bit. Then looking ahead to Sunday, as that area of high pressure shifts away, we get a return flow out of like the south. We start to bring in a couple of showers. It's not going to be like a washout of a day, but let me tell you, friends, we're going to have some showers in the forecast. All right? So today, highs in the 60s. Tomorrow, highs in the 70s. Sunday, highs in the 80s. And we could be like a cheesy radio station here. Best of the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. You're listening to Coffee Talk in Central Florida's weather. Right? We could do that. We're not going to do that. You remember when radio stations were like best of the 70s, 80s, and today? Because it was the 90s? That was a minute ago. Remember when it was like best of the 60s, 70s, and today? Because we were in the 80s? Yeah. I do. But that's just me. Dang it. Showing the age. All right, so temperatures are warming these next couple of days. Ugh. So is my stress as I realize I am getting older. Where do we go from here? So 60s today, 70s tomorrow, 80s on Monday. Now, Monday, there's going to be a couple of showers. Debbie's asking what I put in the coffee. Listen, it's Friday. It's Coffee Talk drive-through day. So I have to go off the train tracks because this whole thing should be off the train tracks today. Dad jokes, Arch says. Yeah. All right. And then look what happens Wednesday into Thursday. Groundhog Day, warm weather. It's funny. My wife told me that she's like, you're speaking to my class on Thursday. And I was like, oh, it's Groundhog Day. And she's like, what does that mean? I'm like, that's the meteorologist holiday. And she's like, does that mean that you can't talk to my class? And I'm like, I just know that that's my holiday and I need to be showered with gifts. And she was just like, or you're going to talk to a bunch of kids at my school. And I was just like, what else? And she's just like, what do you need? And I was just like, it's Groundhog Day. It's my holiday. And she's just like, what do you need? And I'm just like, appreciation. And she's just like, you get to live with me. And I said, crap. And then the conversation kind of ended. Can you believe, though? Groundhog Day, more winter, early spring. What say you? We've got the long-range forecast. Yeah. So, there's that. Debbie says, watch it. You're preaching to the choir with the age. Yeah. Listen, no matter what age we are, the realization that we're getting older, it hits. It hits. Jeannie's asking who's the Coffee Talk drive-thru guest. You'll meet him in a couple of seconds. Let's see if he gets nervous, right? Let's see. Oh, boy. Desiree says, more winter, please. I love the cold weather. You do know we've shared the long-range forecast. Like, whatever it is, it shouldn't be a complete surprise. At least there's that. All right. So there's the 7-day forecast. You know what I didn't do? I didn't get the... hold on a second. Of course I didn't do this yet. Let me do this. Give me 2 seconds, friends. I just need to get this link turned around because Ryan sent me the link for his demo and I didn't do it. All right. So... let's talk about the Coffee Talk drive-thru, okay? You know we do this sometimes. It's in the cooler, quieter months of the year. We do this, and it's one of the super great things that we have started to do on Coffee Talk, and it's going to continue this year. And Ryan is we'll say Ryan is our first guest of the year. So everybody, Ryan, tilt your camera down, Bubba, if you don't mind. This is Ryan Cedergren. He is a student at FSU. Go Knights, charge on. I know. Anyway, so Ryan is a meteorology student at FSU, and is it okay if I say that we've had this kind of mentor-mentee thing going for a minute?
I think so. I think that's a fair thing to say. It was been like 3-4 years.
It's been a few years, yeah. So first off, Ryan, everybody's welcoming you. So do me a favor and just tell everybody a little about you. Who are you? How did you get into the world of weather? All of that fun stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up outside Chicago, little town there, and I think that kind of got me started. If you are from the area, you probably know the name Tom Skilling. And I feel like many people around Chicago know that name, and I just happened to watch them, and I kind of can pick out some moments of snow or tornadoes, just like, oh yeah, that kind of got me going. But I think the real kind of moment of interest was during Hurricane Irma when I was living here. Moved to Florida when I was 6, and just I remember watching Hurricane Irma, watching it develop, and just being really interested by it and thinking, maybe this is something I can do for a career. And here we are now, a few years later. Went to Haggerty High School in Oviedo. crazy quick 4 years there, and then now I'm here at Florida State studying meteorology.
All right, very good. So Irma got you into it.
Yeah.
By the way, Jeannie says that you've got the young Elvis vibe, which I think is always. I think that's a good thing.
So back to that radio station comment, I remember Disney Channel radio and Kids Bop radio. That's what I remember.
Okay.
Not, I do remember, 70s and 80s, but
Disney
I
Channel
remember,
radio and Kids Bop radio.
yeah, that was what I listened to at like 6, 7 years old.
One thing you have to understand is if you're an intern or if I get the chance to mentor, I have to tease you. I have to tease about age. That's Ryan has experienced this plenty, and
Oh,
that's
and
just,
it goes back your way too. I make fun of you about TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. So it goes both directions.
and Ryan is the primary force in me doing any TikToks, which I still don't think I'm very good at, but I digress.
I try to help you and send you ideas, and they never get put together. So
Ryan wants me to put on a bikini and dance around. So this is obviously where there is a bit of a generational gap.
yeah. I'll just send you like something Jacqueline D'Agostino posts and be like, put this on your Instagram.
It
Yeah,
would be
no.
funny if I took something Jacqueline D'Agostino posted and then redid it, but in a much less anything way.
Less good looking, less.
All of the things, yeah.
Yeah.
So Ryan, explain how you and I got connected.
I think I was watching Coffee Talk in class one morning. Obviously, great student with that, and I think you happened to mention something about wanting to teach, future meteorologists. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll send this guy an email. So I think I sent you an email, and then you responded and invited us down to Wesh, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, and your parents came down and we put you at the Chroma Key and had you do some weather and now that you've gotten to FSU, you've had the chance. You've come back to Wesh a couple of times, and I have to show everybody. I'm not going to play any audio, just because you and I are having a conversation. But this is you doing the weather up at FSU, doing your
Yeah.
thing. And tell me a little bit about the experience getting a chance to actually start doing weather.
It's kind of nice just being able to do it on the regular. It's a really nice system at FSC. You can just sign up whenever you want to be on the show, and a great group of people to work with, and they're really good at, getting feedback, giving feedback. So just a great group of people. I've learned a lot already, and
Yeah.
will continue to learn.
Yeah. So what's your desire? You're going to school for meteorology. You're obviously doing the weather at FSU. You've come down to Wesh and done it a bunch off air, which we need to continue to do every time you're in Orlando. But what's your end all goal? Do you want to be on TV to do it?
Yeah, the end all goal is to be on TV, hopefully somewhere in Florida, so I can forecast warm weather. Tallahassee's getting a little too cold for me. I think it was like 34 this morning, so those temperatures are not right.
Obviously this is your demo that you put
Yeah.
together, and yeah.
I
So
love, you're like, it's gonna be chilly this morning. I'm like, I'm sitting here in the 30s, and like, okay, I got class in a couple hours. What am I gonna wear to class?
Yeah.
This is way too cold.
yeah, it's a little bit of a culture shock, I would imagine, living that far north for sure.
Oh yeah.
So Becca says it looks like you've been doing this for years. So going from your interest in this to today, what has surprised you about television meteorology?
I think it's how much math and I mean, obviously science is part of it, but I don't think people really realize how hard the degree is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of math to it. I'm in Calc 2 right now. There's a lot of like differential equations, synoptics, dynamics. Just a lot more. It just goes than just pointing at a green wall behind you.
Yeah.
There's so much science behind it, and it's really interesting.
It is. And I think that a lot of the degree program is much more the fundamentals of it, right? Like the stuff that you're learning, you don't necessarily use day to day in forecasting and TV. And I've tried to make sure you understand what it's like to do TV versus what the degree is, because TV forecasting or weather forecasting is less in the weeds of it. But if you don't have that fundamental understanding, then maybe you don't have that understanding of the science and the atmosphere, of course.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work, and I know people that are finishing up their degree now, and they keep telling me, oh, it only gets worse, it only gets worse. So that'll be fun.
I remember when I was done, I was very done. Like I was just done. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. So,
If you're going to graduate school, or
huh?
or God bless you.
Would you? I didn't hear what you said.
If you're going to graduate school or going past the 4 years, God bless you. I would never be able to.
Dave Cocciarella, who meteorologist at a couple of stations in Central Florida, including WESH. He now works in our sales department. He's like, don't you want to become Dr. Burris? And I'm like, no, I don't. There is my forecast has a 0% chance of that. But for me, I like learning, but I'm not a great classroom student. Would you say that you're a good classroom student, or do you?
I wouldn't. No. No.
You strike me as the guy that loves to just get in the weeds and learn as you go.
Yeah, and I think if there was advice I'd have to give to future meteorologists, I would say math is super important. I'm not great at math.
Right.
I've heard of that for years, that study math, study science, and I can do math, but at the same time, if this is next to me, I'm going to use it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look, I get it. All right, couple of things. So because he's a meteorology student and a college student, I didn't ask if I could share this story, but I have to ask. So you finally get permission to take the car up there.
Oh yeah, go ahead, tell that story.
No, so for what your first semester, you didn't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in Tallahassee, you're walking, biking, whatevering. Your parents
Electric
give you a
scooter.
car. What do you do within the first 3 days of having a car in college?
Take it storm chasing.
Where did you take it storm chasing?
The middle of Alabama. It was, if you remember, a few months ago, around Thanksgiving. It was Utah, Alabama, I believe.
Yep.
I think had one tornado go through, and
Did
we were close to it.
you see it?
We might have. It was like 11 o'clock at night.
How long were you awake that day?
Let's see. I think I woke up probably around 8 a.m. Didn't get back to Tallahassee till close to 6 or 7 a.m. and then had to be back up for class at like 9.
Oh my God.
If you look at like pictures of me that next day, you can just tell I'm like dead.
How'd your parents react to that?
Not great.
Go on.
I mean, yeah, definitely not great. It was a nice phone call the next day.
How did they know?
Life 360.
Oh, so they're tracking you in Alabama.
Yeah. Yep. So if you're a kid watching Life 360, don't let your parents install it.
As a parent, I would say you have no choice.
If I had a kid, I would put Life 360 on their phone. But if you're a young kid watching and you have that option.
So Laura says, and you still went to class. Whew. Doesn't that say something about him, though, right?
The amount of caffeine in my body that day was a lot. Which the amount of caffeine in my body any day is up there. And those Panera charged lemonades?
I don't. What is that?
So it's basically like lemonade, that like different flavors of lemonade that they have with a bunch of caffeine in it. And they have a Panera in the student union. I worked in the student union. So,
Okay.
And Panera has this like sip club where you pay whatever it is a month and you get all the drinks you want for free. So I could just go get a cup of Panera lemonade whenever I want. And so I'm always running on caffeine.
And it includes the caffeinated deal?
Yeah. Includes caffeinated, includes coffee, includes soda, whatever you want. I think like the only exception is like smoothies and stuff.
It sounds like it's perfect for a college student, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely.
that's because I've seen Panera offer it, and I'm like, I'm just never. I'm never in a Panera enough to
Yeah. Well, I'm at Panera like every single day, or not at a Panera, but
near it.
the
Yeah.
has one. So
All right. So, by the way, folks, if you have any questions for Ryan, feel free to chime in. So, what are you learning like in this semester of college right now?
So this semester we're focusing on Calc 2, which is
Oh
definitely a lot
God,
of fun.
gross.
Um, yeah. And then we've also got climate change science, which is interesting. We're kind of starting with looking at the atmosphere, and I'm going into the oceans, the rocks, how everything on Earth as a system is playing into effect. And then we've also got like just gen eds, English.
Yep.
I've got a bowling class.
Of course you do. Of course you
So
do. Yeah.
I'll have to take golf next semester.
Now, while you were at Haggerty, you were doing some broadcasting of your own, even away from school. Tell everybody a little bit about how you kind of really did get your start in the biz.
Yeah, getting my start in the biz, my TV production teacher in high school was great. One of the best teachers I ever had. And I didn't take TV production my freshman year. I started taking it my sophomore year. And I, I kind of had this interest, so I was like, you know what, let's say, hey, if I produce a weather segment, will you air it? And she was like, yeah, of course. We haven't had one in a few years. Let's do it. So it'd kind of be like a modified version of Coffee Talk, where it'd just be, me sitting at home with the graphics up, and that was kind of my start. I built a bunch of graphics in PowerPoint. Would put all the numbers in and record it, and then I'd also, if there was like a tornado or something, go on Facebook Live and do it.
Yeah, and Ryan was building graphics, and so I have to brag for a minute because I remember being told when I was Ryan's age that you're wise beyond your years, and I never appreciated what that meant. But I feel that in Ryan, and I'm so excited to help as much as I can, because I do feel, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, I really I'm serious. I feel that you are wise beyond your years. You're living your college life, and every time I hear little bits of it, I'm like, you enjoy that, because God, when you're a parent and when you're old, you don't get to. Like, why are you not in your dorm room right now, for example?
Oh, that's a fun story. So I told my roommate last night that I was going to be on Coffee Talk and at 8 a.m. And I'm like, do you want me to wake you up, or do you want me to go to a study room and do it? And he said, oh, wake me up. I'll go for a run and, do something. And I'm like, okay. So 7:30 this morning comes around. I'm like, hey, you want to wake up? Didn't get much of a response. 7:40 comes around. I'm like, I had the light on. I'm like, you want to get up? He's like, no. Can you turn the light off? I'm like, okay, I'll go to his study room then. So he's still asleep. Yeah, I wish I could sleep that much.
You need to keep doing that. You need to keep living
Yeah.
your life, the college world. But Ryan has taken such a great interest in learning the computer systems, in learning forecasting, and Ryan's even taken an interest in learning the long range stuff, and frankly has been a great help to me in logging information, building out the hurricane season forecast.
I wouldn't say great help, because I get too lazy to do it every year. We've done what, 3 years now, and
Yeah.
we've worked on it, and usually I just get too lazy, and I started working on one for Tallahassee, and then like 2 weeks in was like, okay, I'm too busy for this.
It's a lot of work, but you've helped me.
It-
I mean, there's no question that you've helped me, and so you've learned it, and so I'm just very excited to see where you go in your career, and while my managers may not know it, you're going to be an intern at some point, whenever the age is correct.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you come in when you're in town, and we'll throw you at the green screen, and we'll beat you up a little bit and get you ready for real big boy TV.
Sounds good, yeah.
All right, well, listen, thank you so much for hanging out on the Coffee Talk drive-thru. I will say, though, it is a tradition. Everybody that joins the drive-thru has to do the forecast, Ryan. Okay?
All right.
So
well, yeah, sure.
this is not a surprise. You know how to do this, so why don't you go ahead and take us through it, all
I had
right?
those temperatures with me today. 66 degrees sounds great. Warming up this weekend 81 by Sunday. Rain chances come in Sunday night into Monday. 84 degrees for the start of your work week. Looking great throughout Groundhog Day. 80s through most of next week. Wish I could say the same for Tallahassee, where it's probably going to be in the 60s for highs every day.
That's why we live here, and that's why we live here. But you have to.
But I live there still. I'm not there right now.
You're studying. That's all. That's all. All right, Ryan Cedergren, thank you so much for hanging out, buddy. Good morning to you.
I love walking outside and people are just wearing shorts. It's like, this is Florida. Where's the warmth? It's like, yeah, I'm saying the same thing. I know where the warmth is. I want it.
Yeah. Listen, you're going to be a future meteorologist at WESH. We're going to make this all happen, okay?
I'll be a future meteorologist somewhere where it's probably going to be 20 degrees every day. And
you'll spend your time in Champaign, Illinois, okay? You'll spend your time there, and then you'll work. We have all worked our way through television. That's just the way that it goes.
Not all of us get to start in West Palm and then go to Orlando.
I got lucky. And with that, we cut Ryan up. Now,
well, I mean, you almost end up in what, Arkansas or something?
I did. I almost ended up in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Yeah, my first job offer was in Fort Smith. And I don't know that I ever told you this story. So I was working at another television station here in Central Florida during college. Interviewed in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Came back terrified. Okay. Funny side, that station is owned by the same company that owns WESH. So interesting how things all play out. So I get back from Fort Smith, and the anchor at the time that I was working with, her name is Marla Weech. She's been off the air in Orlando for a few years now. But I remember Marla Weech coming up to me and saying, "So how did it go?" And I said, "Marla, they offered me the job." And she's like, "Oh my God, we need to have a going away party for you." And I said, "I'm not taking it." And she's like, "Why not?" And I said, I can't do it. I am too weak. And now, Ryan, do you know who Marla Weech is by chance?
Oh, okay. I'm too young.
So she was an anchor for like 20 years in town. Sweet thing. The sweetest. She would never raise her voice. She would never, ever throw attitude. She raised her voice and she threw attitude. You've got to take the job. It's a job offered to you. And if you don't take it, somebody else will. They're going to be better than you because they're getting an earlier start. Well, I had already turned the job down. So I disappointed Marla, okay? And you don't disappoint Marla, okay? You got to understand, this is a woman who is like the most tender teddy bear on the face of the planet. Anyway, like, she didn't hold it against me, but like, you don't want to disappoint her. The next weekend, I get started down this path that took me to West Palm. So, and I remember when I took the job to West Palm, she's like, "You trusted your gut." Something to be said for that. So anyway, you got to trust your gut. You got to, you'll find your path.
Yeah. We'll see what it is. It'll be fun.
Our one of our most recent interns, Dan, had opportunities in like Illinois, Mississippi, Texas, and in the Florida Panhandle, and he took the Panhandle. So I think he's in Panama City, which is a great starter market. It's still up there, but it's it's not Champaign, Illinois up there, or Fort Smith. By the way, Fort Smith is a growing town. I was a wimp at the end of the day. So anyway, all right.
You are so now, to be fair. You are so now.
I'm still now a wimp?
Yeah. It gets down to like 70 and you're like, it's cold.
It's very true. I also weigh half of what I used to weigh, so
that is true.
For what it's worth. All right, Ryan, thank you, buddy, for hanging out for the coffee talk. I appreciate it, bud.
Back to bed.
Yeah, you go back to bed while I'm going to go. There's a fun day today. Thank you, Ryan, buddy. It's a fun day today at WESH. We're going to have some meteorologists and some emergency managers from around Central Florida, and we're going to get together and just kind of do a post-mortem on last year and look ahead to this year. So there's going to be a lot of fun working with some of our partners today. All right, real quick, Ryan told you, getting warmer this weekend, but it is a nice and cool day today. All right. Be the sunshine in someone else's day, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'll see you later for the 3:30 afternoon Coffee Talk. All right.